Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Undisputed Live from Los Angeles. I'm Jen Hale, here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hi, Jen.
Happy Wednesday.
Well, let's get this out of the way. As this man across the table from me keeps telling everybody who will listen, it's his birthday. It's his birthday, America. Let's shout it from the rooftop.
Happy birthday,
It's Shannon Sharpe's 51st birthday. Let's get it over with.
Would have ruined it. You just ruined it.
I want
waited.
everybody to know.
I waited 6.5 months for this
Have
moment.
you?
And you
6.5?
ruined it in 15
You waited
seconds.
364 days. This is your day.
It was my day until you ruined it.
Well, happy birthday.
Appreciate it.
But by the way, there's a much bigger event happening on this day. It's actually tonight.
No.
My school, Vanderbilt, is playing for the National Baseball Championship tonight.
Let's go
against
Big Blue.
Michigan.
Let's go Big
Are
Blue.
you rooting against my
Let's go Big
team?
Blue.
SEC, let's go, Vandy. Go
All I
Commodores.
want to say is anchor down. Way to go, Commodores, for getting this far. Let's just see how it turns out. I don't want to jinx it by putting too much pressure on my guy.
You got a new suit on too today,
I
huh?
don't have a new suit
Yeah, you have
on.
a new
It's an
one.
old
It's
suit.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it
No,
is.
I'm going to beat it off you like the
It's
the
not
old
my
one.
birthday today. But again, if you want me to lay down for you today,
No,
I will.
no, I don't want that.
I will.
I don't want that.
Okay.
All right, let's
Happy
let you guys
birthday.
get
Thank you, bro.
right into it. We're going to get started this morning with a big trade rumor. Will Jimmy Butler be wearing a Rockets uniform next season? Woj reports Houston wants to acquire Butler in a sign-and-trade deal when free agency starts on Sunday. The Rockets do not have enough cap space to just outright sign Butler, so any deal would likely have to include some sort of combination: Clint Capella, PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon. Shannon, would Butler be a good or bad fit in Houston given all the dynamics there?
Skip, I think it'd be a bad fit. I think this seems like a panic move by the Rockets. They built their team. Basically, they've been trying to take down the Golden State Warriors for the last 4 or 5 years and have been unable to do that. And it seems like they try a different situation every year. One year it's Ariza and Luke, Richard and Bob Mute. Then they go get PJ Tucker. Then they extend Capella. It's all these pieces. And when it doesn't fail, it's just like, okay, we're going to keep throwing things against the wall and see what sticks. This makes no sense to me, Skip, because you're bringing in another ball-dominant guy. Now, Jimmy Butler, and I think he's a phenomenal player. I don't think he's a superstar. I think he's a phenomenal player. He plays hard. Next to James Harden, I think in the last 5 years, he's logged the most NBA minutes. Tibbs have really kind of ground him down to a nub, so I don't really know how much more he has left in that body. But Skip, everywhere he's been, he's rubbed people the wrong way. And guess who else has rubbed people the wrong way? James Harden and Chris Paul. So now you're going to have 3 guys that seemingly rub people the wrong way. The one thing that you can say about Eric Gordon, you can say about Clint Capella and PJ Tucker, they know their roles, they understand their roles, and they're fine, especially playing with ball-dominant James Harden and Chris Paul. You bring Jimmy Butler in there.
Yep.
What do you think is going to happen, Skip? You think he's going to be happy to stand around on the corner while James Harden dribble, step back, sidestep, 3. Dribble, ISO, go to the bucket. Is he going to be okay with that, Skip? This seems like a total panic move to me. It makes no sense to me. They're going to have to get a third team involved because the Sixers do not want Clint Capella. They have a big. So I don't see how this, I'm sure they can make it work, but I don't like it, Skip. I don't like the panic. Stay the course. You mentioned this, and we've been talking about this, Skip. Golden State is not going to be Golden State as we know it. Even if Kevin Durant re-signs, which we don't believe he will, he's not playing in 2019, 2020. So you got a year. Why are you looking to blow it up every time you don't win the title? You look to blow the entire thing up and start from scratch again. Daryl Morey, I mean, you done all these analytics. You went to MIT, you went to all these institutions and give you the analytics. Is this what they say do? After you don't win, blow the thing up in its entirety? I don't like the move, Skip. I think it'll be a bad fit, and it seems like a total, they're just like scrapping everything and just trying to start from scratch over again.
So, I am a much bigger Jimmy Butler fan than you are. And I believe Jimmy Butler would be just what the doctor ordered for this team right here, right now. Now, that doctor may be Dr. Freud or somebody like that, like somebody deeper than just some doctor. But here's the point. Back to your question. All of a sudden, the decks got cleared. So Daryl Morey's obsession over the last 4 or 5 years, I got to dethrone Golden State. And all of a sudden, the injury gods dethroned Golden State.
Correct.
All of a sudden, the heavens opened, the path cleared, and everybody's got a shot now in the West. If you have a semblance of some star power in your lineup, you got a shot.
Absolutely.
Depending on how the injury gods treat you next year. So the question becomes for Daryl Morey, should I just stand pat? Should I just hold them instead of folding them? Should I just say, I'll take what I have, even though I've got 2 superstars at each other's throat right now? Mm-hmm. Should I just hope they can figure it out in a year in which we got one shot? It's a 1-year open door policy for everybody, because I'm pretty sure Kevin Durant won't be able to play. I don't know that for a fact. Mm-hmm. I don't know for a fact he won't come back for next year's playoffs. But even if he does, it just can't be a difference maker.
This is what we know, Skip. When a guy injures himself because he felt he came back early, he will be extra conservative on the return.
Okay. Could a miracle happen? Let's just do the best case scenario for Golden State. Could he decide to just re-sign and stay the course with Golden State, which I don't think he's going to do, but I'm just saying this would be the worst case for Houston or anybody else in the West. If he stayed and he had a miraculous recovery, and by, I don't know, March or April, he's starting to be able to play like Kevin Durant, and all of a sudden they turn back into the Warriors right on schedule for the playoffs, that would be the best case for Golden State, worst case for everybody else. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either.
Okay, so now, what do you have in Golden State? Do you really believe you could just close your eyes and sort of bite your tongue and grit your teeth and hold on and say, Chris Paul and James Harden will figure it out next year? I just don't think that's possible. From everything I've heard, it's been going on for a long time.
Right.
I don't think they can figure it out. I think they need somebody other than Mike D'Antoni to peacemake. He just comes across, and again, I don't know Mike D'Antoni, but he just seems milquetoasty to me. He just seems vanilla, weak. When I see this sideline,
his huddle.
You know, when I see the little snippets of his huddle, it doesn't look, nobody's even listening to it. Come on, guys, we got to get a stop here. Well, that's profound. Really? That's deep. So to me, he always comes across as a guy who's just kind of going along for the ride with these guys. I don't know. I just tell him to shoot threes, right?
But Skip,
okay.
But you're adding Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
You do know what he represents, right? I
know exactly what he represents. I've been around Jimmy enough to know he doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He is a quote unquote, spit in your eye guy. Mm-hmm. He's the kind of guy who he will get in your face. He doesn't care if you're James Harden or Chris Paul or Mike D'Antoni. He will get in your face. And for younger teams, he will disrupt your chemistry because he'll challenge Joel Embiid, whoever it is, Ben Simmons. Come on, man. You're better than that.
Towns,
well, we can go back through that. They weren't even remotely ready for this because it's an onslaught of a guy who just says, we're better. You're better than this. I challenge you to be a man about this, Karl Anthony Towns, and it didn't go over well at all.
Right.
I think it's just exactly what they need in Houston because Jimmy Butler backs it up on the court, and I'll tell you why. He is the ultimate two-way closer because he will close on the defensive end and the offensive end. Yeah. And I'm not saying he's the greatest clutch shooter ever, but he is not afraid to take and make big late-game shots. We've seen it again and again. He will at least take them. Mm-hmm. Some guys run from that. I think James Harden down the stretch, I think he runs from that in playoff games. Chris Paul is just a little over the hill. He used to be able to take and make big shots, but he's never been a big difference maker either. So you need one guy to step in who's kind of their equal. Not that he's as good a player as James, or either one of them for that matter. Right. But he's still a star. And he could walk into that locker room, and when the conflict started to rise, he could get in both their faces and say, well, what are we doing? We got a chance to do something special here.
But what happened when the conflict arises with him? The problem that I'm having, Skip, is that when I listen to people talking, I'm hearing them talking about Jimmy Butler. When did he become LeBron, Kawhi, or KD? When did he become those guys that can swing the pendulum?
I don't hear anybody call him that.
But everybody, we need Jimmy. Oh, if we get Jimmy. Minnesota thought he was that. Philadelphia thought he was that. It seems to me Houston thinks he's that.
You know what? If Joel Embiid had stayed healthy, we might be talking about Jimmy Butler as an NBA champ right now.
No.
That's what I believe.
No, you couldn't do it. No, he wasn't going to be the NBA. He wasn't going to be the finals MVP.
Okay.
Oh, Embiid?
Embiid? No, I'm saying he would be the champ, not the finals MVP. I'm just saying champ. His team, I thought that was the best team.
Well, he could have, guess what? He had a chance. All he had to do was stop Kawhi. Don't let Kawhi go for 45. Don't let him go for 41. Don't let him go for 39 in the game 7 and hit the game winner. You could have done that. You could have been the champ.
Okay, it went to the last shot of the last
And
game.
who took it? His man.
Okay, and did he not defend it very well?
No.
Yep.
Actually,
he defended it so well. If he wasn't the guy on him, I think it was
Joel Embiid.
Embiid took the run at it.
Yeah,
he got switched off.
Got switched, yeah.
But I thought he did a good enough job to get them to that moment, and then it was just simply the luckiest shot in the history of the NBA playoffs. It was. It was a 4-bouncer from the
He told
corner.
you he practiced that shot.
Okay, he does not practice that
He told
shot.
that.
He never practiced
Everybody
that
said
shot.
that.
Come on,
Practice
practice that shot.
Skip. See, when
Did he practice shooting it short from the corner? Who's ever
Why
shot
do you
it?
keep doing that?
I know, but nobody's ever shot it short from the corner and it bounced twice and hit both sides of the rim and fell.
No.
It just won't fall. It won't go in. It's physically impossible.
Stop.
Okay.
You know he didn't.
You know I'm right about this.
You know he didn't mean the literal sense where he practiced that shot. He shot it short. It hit the rim, hit the other side, hit the back, and went in. That's not what he means.
If he had Ray Allen that shot, you got me. But he didn't Ray Allen that shot, right?
It had the same result.
He shot
as Ray
it
Allen.
short. He missed that shot. That's the truth. He missed that
No, he
shot.
didn't.
And somehow it went in. It was the hand of God.
No, he shot it. He put it in.
It was just meant to. He did not put it in.
He did.
Did he intend it to hit the front of the rim? No, he did
hold on.
not.
Skip. Daryl Morey built this thing through analytics and his evaluation of the way we take down the Golden State Warriors. We shoot more threes, make more threes than them.
All right.
Okay. Golden State is wounded. We don't believe the Warriors will be ever the Warriors again as we know them. And he's willing to scrap this. Even after a team that you've been chasing, their boat has, for lack of a better word, blown an engine.
Yep.
And you're fine. You're still in this race. So in other words, you say, you know what? We're going to blow our engine too. We're going to turn this whole thing over. Skip, this is a panic move. One team is, now you got to hope Klay comes back at some point in time next year and be healthy. Or Golden State's really not going to be the Golden State that we know. I don't believe Kevin Durant because, you know, when you get in that boot, Skip, that calf is going to, it's not like Kevin Durant got, you know, big, ginormous softball calves.
Okay.
So that leg is going to atrophy some.
Okay. So you're calling this a panic move, and it would be because it's time to panic.
Why?
Because if you try to go as is between James and Chris Paul, and I think you would agree with this, that's going to fester, that's going to flare on occasion, and finally that's going to explode.
Well, then you got to get one of them up out of there then.
Okay. Well, how do you do that? You're stuck with gigantic. You're not going to trade Chris Paul's contract. It's what is it? $40 million.
Yep, 41.3.
Okay. All right. Well, you can't trade that, so you're stuck with that. But you need to bring in a new leader, a new peacemaker, a new referee for those two. That's what he would be.
This is how you know there's a hierarchy. You're not coming in no matter, and just all of a sudden, Chris Paul's like, bruh, I got more All-NBA, I got more All-Star appearances than you. James Harden says likewise. He's not coming in being no leader. You think Chris Paul and James Harden's going to listen to Jimmy Butler?
I do. And in part because he's more physically imposing than either one of those guys.
Skip, this ain't boxing. This ain't the NBA. They go by skill in the NBA.
Okay, I got it. But sometimes in the locker room when push comes to shove, if one guy stands up and gets right in the face and says, what are you going to do about it, Chris Paul?
Yeah.
Well, maybe Chris Paul will sit back down because Jimmy Butler will say, what are you going to do about it?
Skip.
And he is 6 feet 8 inches tall.
He is.
And he takes nothing off nobody, especially Chris Paul.
But I'm asking on the court, how does this mesh? You got 3 ball-dominant players. One is the most.
I don't know if Jimmy Butler's ball dominant.
Skip, he needs the ball.
Not really. He's a catch-and-shoot three-point
No,
shooter.
he's not no catch-and-shoot.
He is, too. He shot 39% last year from 3 on catch and shoot.
But
that'll work.
Skip. When I think catch and shoot, I'm thinking Klay Thompson, I'm thinking Kyle Korver. I'm thinking Jimmy Butler is an all-star because he can get buckets. He's 34%, I think, career from the three-point line, which isn't bad. It's not great. It's not Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, but it's not bad. But that's not what he is. He's not a three-point marksman. So in other words, now all of a sudden, Daryl Morey, what you're telling us, you don't believe the three-point taking and making threes is the way to beat the Warriors.
Maybe he's going to dial that down.
What I need to hear him saying.
Okay.
Because he's pounded over everybody's head that will listen. He sent all these, remember all the analytics he sent in about to the NBA about how they miss calls and he paid all this money.
Okay, I got it. So the ESPN report said that 2 of 3 players would have to go to Philly. And maybe this whole thing's pie in the sky. I don't know, because I don't know what. If I'm Philly, I don't let him go. I'm going to figure out how to keep Jimmy Butler. But let's just say they were open to this deal. So 2 of 3 are Capella and Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker. So if I'm bringing Jimmy Butler over, I don't want to lose Capella because I know you're not the biggest Capella fan, but it's hard to replace that. You can't just snap your fingers and replace.
Replace what? Did you see him against Golden State?
Okay. Well, I saw him during the regular season when he was really good.
But you told me the regular season don't mean anything. I saw James Harden in the regular season.
Well, but you got to have some semblance of a basketball team that you put together. So if you told me that they would take Eric Gordon and PJ, I'd say, done. I'll take Jimmy Butler. I need Capella just to do the dirty work.
Skip, how do you do?
I need him to be the alley to the oop, you know?
Skip, but how do you fit Jimmy Butler? Okay, if they do a sign and trade deal, that's 5 years at 190. That's 32.7 a year. Okay, how do you get that? And Chris Paul's $38 million, and Clint Capella's $20 million, and James Harden $40 million under the cap.
Well, I don't know.
That's 4 players.
I'm not a capologist, but apparently the ESPN report said it's doable if 2 of those 3 go back to Philly.
2 of those 3.
You need a third team
to
involved.
take Capella.
Okay. All right, so fine. No, not to take Capella.
They're going to have to.
To take somebody around the horn a little bit.
Those 3 of those guys are going to have to leave. Philly would have to absorb 2 of those, which would mean
I'm
Gordon.
not sure all 3 would have to leave.
I guarantee, Skip, Skip, how? How are you going to do you understand?
I don't know. This is too complicated.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
That means Capella it is going to be 3 teams involved. Capella is going somewhere other than Philly, and he's not going to be on the Rockets. PJ Tucker and Eric Gordon is going to Philly. If this deal were to happen, that's the only way it can happen, Skip. You can't fit $20 million, $32 million, $38 million, and $40 million under a cap.
Well, you can if 2 of them are already your guys. You know, I think it would work.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Skip,
well,
they would have 3. They could have 3 max player and a $20 million player.
Okay, so you're saying this won't work then?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
not with Capella still on the roster. Yeah, it would work if Capella went somewhere else and you traded Gordon and Tucker. And now you got Jimmy Butler. You would have what they would call a big 3. Those salaries, those 3 max salaries. But no. You couldn't put Clint Capella on that roster and still fit all 3 of those guys on there.
Okay, well then I don't know how you'd fill out the rest of the roster. So
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's my point.
Austin Rivers is a free agent. You still got Gerald Green. You got Daniel House as shooters that you could bring back. I don't know. You'd still need some big people to do some big things.
How about you stand pat and Chris Paul and James Harden put their egos aside? Skip, we believe that if they had got the 2 seed, they'd have gotten to the Western Conference Finals. I believe they would have beat anyone else in the West other than Golden State. But they goofed it off. James Harden missed the free throw. Paul George came down and hit a 3, that ended up winning the game and pushed them down. And so instead of getting Golden State in the Western Conference Finals, who knows? Kevin Durant's out for the entirety of the series, Skip. Now we might be having a total different discussion. But because they goofed it off, they ended up getting Golden State in the second round. Now Daryl Morey is willing to blow the thing entirely up.
The problem is Chris Paul is over the hill. Okay. Chris Paul can't live up closely to the problem was Daryl Morey gave him, going back a summer ago, the max. And he's not worth it anymore. He degenerated right before your very eyes to the point that he lost a step, so he doesn't defend the way he used to. He has no lift on any of his jump shots, so he can't shoot it even the way he used to shoot it, which wasn't great to start with. So he's a shell of himself to me. So that's why you need a Jimmy Butler, because if you stay as is, you're ball dominant with James Harden, and you don't have enough else around him. You need another star. You're a one-star team because Chris Paul is no longer a star.
Well, if you keep Chris Paul on that roster and he's over the hill, Jimmy Butler's not bringing a potion, a fountain of youth, so Chris Paul can drink
He's
it.
29. I mean, Jimmy Butler's still 29,
Yeah,
so
I know.
he can live up.
But Chris Paul's still the guy that you said is over the hill, still on the roster.
But whatever you can get out of Chris Paul, Jimmy would get out of him. What he can just do it more with his mind than his body anymore, like we heard from Ray Leonard that time. You know, at a certain age, it's more about your head than your body. And that's what you could get from Chris Paul. And Jimmy Butler would help bring back out whatever the savvy was, the know-how. He would get the most you could get out of Chris Paul. But if you go as is, they're going to be a disaster next year. They will. Mark my words. This will crumble right before your very eyes.
I'm not so sure even bringing Jimmy Butler into the fold, it changes anything. If the reports are true that James Harden gave an edict, says him or I, Chris Paul says, I want to be traded, you need to move me, how does Jimmy Butler resolve that? The issues, because the underlying thing that caused this is still there. Chris Paul believes James Harden is too ball dominant, and he's not.
Who's the leader of the Houston Rockets right now as is? Who's the leader?
James Harden.
No, he's not.
Who is?
He never wanted to be.
I'm just saying, but
he leads himself. That's all.
Well, who is?
You know, it was going to be Chris Paul, but he can't live up on the basketball court to it. He can't back it up. That's the problem.
So Jimmy's gonna come in and be the leader.
Yep, they need a leader. He would be the new rudder of this. He would be the new moral compass of this group. He would be the one who'd say, "No, stop it."
Every guy that they've brought in there to try to be second fiddle of James Harden, he runs them off. Dwight Howard, he ran off. Chris Paul wants to get going. I don't see how the scenario changes if Jimmy Butler comes in. All it's going to do now, you're going to have a guy that really won't back down and might be willing to go nose to nose with James Harden and blows the blow.
Good.
That ain't no
Like to
good.
see it.
No.
Yeah.
How
They need to shake it up.
Skip, how does that help you? How does fighting in the locker room help you win games?
Sometimes it can clear the air. You've seen it.
Complicated personalities and some complicated math to make this proposed deal work.
Exactly.
We will find out. Free agency, of course, beginning on Sunday. All right, we're sticking with the NBA dating game. Could D'Angelo Russell be the Lakers' next big move? We're going to discuss that next.
No mercy.
If you're looking to get back into a great workout groove, we have to tell you about the latest from Peloton, the Tread. It offers an expansive range of boot camp, running, strength, walking, and stretching classes that reimagine the at-home total body workout experience. With Peloton Tread, convenience is key. Bring the best total body instruction to you at home on your time. Peloton knows you're busy. Classes range from 10 to 60 minutes long, so you can fit in a workout on your watch. Peloton Tread also provides access to trainers there to guide you through a wide variety of workouts. Work up a sweat with world-class instructors who are running, walking, stretching, and training by your side. The motivation is real-time, and you never repeat the same workout unless you want to. The 32-inch HD touchscreen and powerful built-in soundbar make the Tread the most immersive and captivating workout experience. Don't miss a beat in a workout that feels larger than life. And with Tread, you can see your progress all in one comprehensive place. You'll be able to push yourself to new personal bests by tracking total output, distance, and heart rate. Discover the immersive and challenging total body training you can get from Peloton Tread. Peloton is offering listeners a limited time offer. Go to onepeloton.com, use the code UNDISPUTED to get $100 off accessories with the purchase of a Tread.
No mercy.
Apparently, the Lakers want Kyrie Irving to go to Brooklyn. Woj reports LA is actually rooting for Kyrie to become a Net, so LA can get D'Angelo Russell. The Lakers would love to sign him as a free agent. Russell, of course, an all-star for the Nets last season, but don't forget he spent the first 2 seasons of his career with the pre-LeBron Lakers and was traded away after quite the public feud with Swaggy P. So, birthday boy, D'Angelo, would you like to see him with the Lakers?
No. It's simple, Skip. Only James Harden and Russell Westbrook had a higher usage rate than D'Angelo Russell. So in other words, what that tells you, Skip, he needs the ball. You're not going to get the guy that they have in Brooklyn if he's playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, because those two are the first and second options. This is what we know if you're the third option and you play with LeBron James. Chris Bosh was a 2010 guy in Toronto. He wasn't even close to that in Miami. Kevin Love was a 24-12, 26-11, 26-13. He wasn't even close to that in Cleveland. The third option is the guy that must sacrifice the most. D'Angelo Russell got traded after his first year. He was the second pick in the draft. People say, well, they trade you that quick, you got to be a bust. So he finds a home in Brooklyn. He reinvents himself, grows up, matures, goes to becomes an all-star, was in line to win most improved. That went to Siakam. And so now you go from that, making an all-star, becoming one of the most improved players in all of basketball, and you're going to go be a third option? Skip, he doesn't want that. Once you start to establish yourself, you want to continue that arc, that trajectory. I don't see how he does that in L.A. playing alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis. For me, if you have LeBron and Anthony Davis and you can't surround them with three more quality guys, they don't have to be stars, but three quality guys and an adequate bench and go compete for a championship, well, that tells me your coaching staff is terrible. And LeBron and Anthony Davis has failed. You don't need D'Angelo Russell. And it's not going to be a good fit. He's ball dominant. He needs the ball. LeBron needs the ball. Anthony Davis can play off the ball, but he needs the ball also, Skip. To maximize what he does. Lakers, just because you got the cap space and you can sign one of these guys, because D'Angelo Russell's salary would fall right in line, $27,250,000. They would have $27,300,000 in cap space. No.
That's if Anthony Davis says, I waive my $4 million trade kicker.
Hold on.
And that's still undone as far as I know.
Did you see the cast for Space Jams 2?
I did not.
You know who's in it?
No, I did not.
Anthony Davis is one of the characters.
Okay. So?
Yeah, so
he waives?
We'll give him for a day's work. We'll give him like $12 million for a day's work.
Well, you could do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Could be a salary cap violation, but
what we do off the court, they got nothing to do with it. The Warner Brothers cutting these checks, not the NBA, not the Lakers. They got nothing to do with that.
So LeBron does run clutch sports, you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying Anthony Davis. Skip, look, when you go work on a movie, I don't know, you worked in a movie, but you've done some TV work.
I've done some movie work. I've been in several.
Okay, so you know how this works.
Yep. Nobody paid me $12 million to be in that movie. I don't know about you.
But. Well, if you had given some money back, they would have said, well, here, Skip, this is how we're going to get it back to you.
Okay.
I did that.
So there are two sides to this sword. And I'm going to take the Lakers side before I take the Nets side. For the Lakers, I cannot think of a worse fit for LeBron James than D'Angelo Russell. Not a worse fit out there than this kid, bringing him back to the scene of his quote-unquote crime on Nick Young, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But I just don't know if you grow up and grow out of that one. And number two, to your point, next year, for sure, LeBron James has to be the starting point guard for your Los Angeles Lakers, because as he enters year 17, he needs to stay out of the fray a little more. You can't play power forward or small forward. You need the ball in your hands because he is still the best passer in basketball. I say it again and again to you. Nobody has better vision right now than LeBron James does in this game. He is still the best passer of this era, and he can still do that. What's he going to be next year, 35?
35.
Okay. So
in December.
You can keep doing that at a higher level than you can going down low and banging with people, posting people up. After a while, the body can take only so many shots. But you don't need D'Angelo out on the perimeter with the ball in his hands, because where's LeBron going to go? What's he going to do? Go stand in the corner and wait and take off several plays a game where he just doesn't even play offense?
Right.
Well, Kyrie worked with LeBron because, as you know, Kyrie's actually more of a 2 than a 1.
Correct.
So even in the days of Kyrie, LeBron opted for 1 a lot more than he opted for 2 or 3, to me. So D'Angelo doesn't fit here. And I was surprised at Magic's quote, because Magic, when he dumped him, when he got rid of D'Angelo, he was hard on him, right?
Yes, he was.
And then yesterday I'm reading the quotes. Now he's talking to D'Angelo. Now he's ready. He's much more mature. I said the only thing, he was immature back then. He could always score, but the guys would never play with him because of what he did with the Nick Young video. But now all those guys are gone, and he's on another level now. Well, now Magic's back to being Laker ambassador. Oh, it's all peace and love. Everything's going to be okay. I don't think it's going to be okay. And just to me, and you and I think, talked about this when it happened. At least we have. We've referred to it, but he secretly videotaped Nick Young while they're in a hotel room, just kind of sitting on the bed, just talking life, right?
Right.
And Nick Young's just kind of bearing his soul, and he reveals a detail involving his, I think she was his fiance, and Iggy Azalea, which blew that relationship apart.
Yeah.
And he posted it. What are you doing? You posted that? How could you do that? What would possess you? What would provoke you to even think about, I think I'll just do him in? Because of what?
I have no idea.
What's your motive?
But we'd had to move some furniture.
I'd say you'd have to move some furniture, right?
Absolutely.
Well, come on.
To think about this. I mean, guys and ladies and gentlemen at home, just think about, you're sitting around and you're chewing the fat. That's what we call it down south, Skip. We're chewing the fat.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're talking. You with your girl Jed, you talking. All of a sudden, she start talking about some things that she might have done. Some things. And you hit record. Huh? That's not enough. You post it.
Yeah, if you just had it, like I don't know what you do with it. You had something on.
First of all, Skip, you got to whip him because you believe he did it to try to get at her. Now you know that's off limit. We boys, you can't holler, you can't talk to that. So I got to whip him just because of that. Then I got to whip him because he broke the code of violation. Yeah, I got to whip him. Magic was right. See, but Magic is looking at it now as a fan. Oh, he's matured. Magic Johnson, the general manager, would have never let him come back in.
Nope, he would not.
No.
That's over and done.
Yeah.
Once you step across that line, I don't think you can step that one back.
No. And D'Angelo, he needs to be where he can handle the ball, have the ball in his hands, and be himself. You're never gonna get the D'Angelo Russell that you saw in Brooklyn last year that made the All-Star. You're never gonna see that with Anthony Davis and LeBron James because he just will not have the ball enough in order to showcase what he can do.
So he gets shipped out to New Jersey. Nobody's expecting anything from New Jersey, and especially from him. And all of a sudden, in the relative shadows, he had a nice year.
Right.
He had his breakout year, if you want to go to 21 points a game and 7 assists a game, both career highs.
Right.
And to your point, he was on that plane. He was in the discussion of
most improved.
He'll never be more than just a pretty good NBA player to me. I was never a fan of his. You can go back and look it up before his draft, and I'm less of a fan now. And it drives me nuts to read stories about, well, now the Nets are trying to decide, should they take Kyrie or it's like it's become one or the other, Kyrie or D'Angelo.
Right.
Because D'Angelo fit in the chemistry last year.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He's one of these guys now. They're all unified.
It would be an easy decision for me. I would keep D'Angelo Russell.
You would?
I would.
Boy, I would.
Knowing what I know about Kyrie, Skip, come on now.
Okay. I'm tired of Kyrie getting bashed for the intangibles he did not show last year. He still has huge tangibles.
Yeah.
He is a superstar, and don't forget it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Because he had career highs last year of 24 and 7. He had 7 assists last year. Again, they went 49 and 33. Unfortunately, with him in the lineup, they went 37 and 30 because of what happened his first go-round in Boston. What happened? Right on schedule, he got hurt approaching the playoffs.
Right.
And then they took off without him.
Right.
And it was virtually impossible for him to re-ingratiate himself into that group this year because they're like, we got to the fourth quarter of Game 7 of the conference finals without you, right?
Well, yeah, all that's true, Skip. But when you look at it, they're looking at Kyrie and he's talking to them. But it's almost like he's talking down to them.
Okay,
and
I
it's
got
like
it.
He has a ring.
No, he was.
Yeah.
I don't defend any of that.
He's like, I had to call LeBron, and I'm like, bruh, I see what you're talking about now. They're like, what? You the problem. You keep on talking about you had to call LeBron to try to figure this out. You are the problem, Kyrie.
Okay? Just remember, he's only 27 years of age.
Yes.
To me, he's just entering his prime.
Skip, you can't
Hey.
be that moody and be a leader. Skip,
Okay.
you can't go weeks and months without talking to your teammates.
Hey, if you give me a choice in Brooklyn next year and I got Kyrie or De'Aaron, I'm going Kyrie. I don't care about whatever happened in Boston happened.
Okay,
He's just such
what
a
happened
better
to
player.
Cleveland? He brought the same thing to Cleveland, remember? It was reported that he wouldn't talk to his teammates for weeks on end. He took that same, and he didn't want the drama. You know, LeBron, oh my goodness, LeBron had so much drama going on. Ooh, man, LeBron, he was a diva, and I don't need that.
was.
I want to be coached.
Yeah.
He got everything he wanted, Skip.
Yeah. Okay, so it didn't work in Boston. It would work.
It
much
didn't work
better.
in Cleveland either.
Yeah. Cleveland, he just hit Game 7 game-winning shot. That's all.
He
that
said
happened.
it, but he wanted out, so it wasn't working there.
Did they win a championship?
Yes, they did.
Could LeBron have won without him? No.
Could Kyrie have made the playoffs without LeBron?
Well,
no.
Without LeBron?
Without LeBron. Because
With
remember,
that team they had, yeah.
no, because remember, hold on. Because you do remember when LeBron was gone, they got #1 overall draft pick in Anthony Bennett. The next year, they got #1 overall draft pick in Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
That's what we know. So they kept getting #1 overall draft picks. That's not playoffs. You don't get the #1 overall. Only the Lakers did. Because remember, they won the title, and then they got James Worthy. But that's neither here nor that'll never happen again. So let's not kid
Kyrie
ourselves.
was 18 years old, then he was 19 years old. Okay.
And 20, and 21, and then LeBron came.
Okay.
And now we look at Kyrie in a totally different light because he just be one of these guys that's wheeling and dealing, putting up a bunch of points, and not going anywhere.
I'll take him any day or any night over D'Angelo Russell.
Is he
and I'll beat you.
Skip, is he a better player than D'Angelo Russell? Absolutely. But for Brooklyn and what they have already established, I would take D'Angelo Russell because they know him, they know his moods, he knows them. You bring somebody else in there, Skip.
Okay, if they stay as is going into next year, remember they went 42-40 in the Eastern Conference last year.
Okay, so what are they going to be with Kyrie? 46 and 30, 38?
Well, they'd win 50-some games.
Huh? And do what?
And they'd be a threat.
A threat to do what?
I don't know, to win one round of the playoffs.
Oh, what good is that?
Well, it's better than they did last year.
But they ran up
It's
against, hold
better.
on. You told me they ran up against the team that had Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid was healthy, remember? The monster game that he had after he sat out, and Ben Simmons had that monster game that Joel Embiid sat out.
He sat
so
out.
you told me that Philly, had Joel Embiid been healthy, they might have been the NBA champs.
Joel Embiid sat out a whole game, and Ben Simmons just owned him, right?
And that's what the Brooklyn Nets went up against.
Okay.
Well, D'Lo says he is open to talking to the Lakers. He's a restricted free agent,
going
so
back,
he
Skip.
can sign an offer sheet once free agency
Bad
starts,
idea.
and then the Nets would have 48 hours to respond.
No mercy.
Next up this morning, Andre Iguodala certainly had a lot to say yesterday on The Breakfast Club. Iggy opened up about his former coach Mark Jackson's religious beliefs and how they've played a role in him no longer being a head NBA coach. Iggy also dishing on how KD's Achilles injury was handled. Take a listen.
Everyone's feeding stuff in our head when KD coming back,
And the fact that it's the finals.
That's what I'm saying. Last year it happened to me. I missed the last 3 games of the Houston series. It goes to Game 7. We barely get out of that series. And now they're looking at me like, when you coming back? And I had a fractured leg. But it's being put out there like he got a bone bruise. I'm like, no, it's fractured. But I'm fighting with the team. I'm fighting with people. I'm fighting with the media. And then my teammates ask me every day, how you feeling? How you feeling?
You played under Mark Jackson for a year, right? Now, whatever happened to Mark? Because he put that team together, it seems like, and then nobody ever gave him a chance again, which seems weird.
We were just talking about that this morning, and I just talked about it earlier about playing a part. But if that's not who you really are, you can't play the part, or you can't play the politics game. And I think it was a lot of that. Like, we were huge fans of Mark, the players. He was the ultimate players coach.
You think Mark Jackson's blackballed from the NBA?
I do, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Absolutely. I
Wow.
think so too.
That's a lot of information there. Blackballed, bone bruise versus fracture. Shannon, what's your reaction to everything Iggy had to say?
Skip, I told my grandmother, you say, boy, there are 3 people that'll tell you the truth. Drunks, kids, and angry people. And I guess there's a 4th if he or she is peddling a book. Because he's peddling a book, The 6th Man, a memoir. Oh, Skip Bayless. Andre Iguodala, because I'm listening. I didn't know at the time. I had to do some research because I've listened to it yesterday. I listened to snippets. I was like, why is he spilling all this? Why is he going on this repentance tour? I'm like, what's going on? Oh, okay. So now I see. Because, Skip, not only is he throwing people under the bus, he driving the bus, he ran over, bloop, bloop. I don't know if I got you good. He backed up and bloop, bloop, run him again, and then bloop, bloop, right over the top of him.
True.
But Andre Iguodala offered you a glimpse in how it works. And I said this, Skip, because I've been a professional athlete. I don't know if people realize that, but you do.
When was that?
It was a long time ago. 15 years. It was 15
You
years.
just turned 51.
Don't worry about what I turned
ancient
around.
history.
Don't worry about it. I still look good for 51. That what
You
they
do.
that,
You do. I give you that.
I look good for any age. Don't be talking about 50. Oh, you look good for 51. I look good for
You look
any
good
age.
for 51.
I look good for any age. But anyway, let me get back to my point. Skip, what this and I said the team will never tell an injured player, you will play. But what they do is that they keep planting the seeds, not only to you, but they plant it with your teammates. You heard Andre Iguodala say they like, oh, you okay? I mean, everything all right? When you gonna get back out there, bro?
Yep.
Man, boy, we had you. This thing wouldn't even be close. Knowing the competitive nature of athletes. Yeah. You start getting into your head. Man, I need to get out there. And they keep planting that seed. Now, Iggy said he had a fractured leg. They said it was a bone bruise.
Oof.
So if I'm Kevin Durant, I said, hold on, wait a minute.
Thank you.
You told me I had a calf injury. All the while, it's being reported Kevin Durant's very, very upset with the diagnosis that he got from team staff. We'll get back to that, Skip. The pressure to play, especially because it seems like because Peter Gruber, Skip, I forget the article, but you just a couple of months ago, how they were light years in terms of everybody. And by the time they catch you, by the time the rest of the NBA caught up, they would be gone again.
You mean
Peter Gruber, the
I
owner?
think it was Joe Lacob who said that.
Was it Lacob?
I believe Lacob.
It was Lacob. It was Lacob. I'm sorry. My fault. It was Joe Lacob.
Yeah.
We're
light years ahead.
Light
Yep,
years.
he did.
And when the rest of the NBA catches up with us, we're going to be gone again. We'll be
That's
light
true.
years ahead of
He
them
said
again.
that.
In other words, we be lying. And we be lying to the players. Skip, this is not good. This is really not a good look for the Golden State Warriors. And it's a worse look for the NBA because it goes to show you that they prioritize winning over an individual. And this is why I tell guys, look, you better go get your second opinion. Because at the end of the day, the team doctors, I understand he takes an oath, but he took another oath, a paycheck oath. And it's coming from the team, not from you. So you go get somebody that's on your payroll and you get them to give you a proper diagnosis, that they have your best vested interest at mind. Skip, the Mark Jackson, you nor I are surprised what Iggy said about Mark Jackson. Because I can't fathom, the man can't get a call. Forget Skip, okay, he got interviewed and said they want to go somewhere else. But we see some of these guys that's getting recycled. Frank Vogel done got a job, done got 2 jobs before this man done got a call. He can't get a call.
Okay.
I hate the term blackball because it has negative connotation. I mean, anytime you say something black, you know, they're in the black market, black magic, you know, black ball. I say white ball. Because, see, white ball, they have the fake. See, if you get blackballed in our community, Skip, what would it do? That means we don't talk to you.
Yeah.
We can't prevent you from doing anything.
Yep.
But when you get white ball, they can prevent you from doing things, like having a job in the NBA or playing quarterback in the NFL.
It's a good point. Yep.
And he said, you know, Mark is very devout in his beliefs.
He is.
And his beliefs do not necessarily coincide. And Andre was speaking about you have to play the political game. Also, Mark has to understand that the country and where he coaches, they're very open-minded. And his beliefs didn't necessarily coincide with their beliefs. Now, I don't know if the owners, Joe Lacob and Peter Gruber, went to him and said, Mark, you need to tone this rhetoric down. I don't know what happened. But if they come to you and they say, you know, you need to tone this down, this is not the time or the place, well, you're going to have to, you know, keep your views to yourself and keep it moving. But for me, I think he's learned. I mean, Mark is who he is. I understand that being Mark is a couple of years older than I am, and we come from a part of the crunch in the South, Skip, that, you know, certain things, we weren't as open-minded when I was growing up as we are now. You live and you learn because you
Mark's not from the South.
No, he's from New York, but I'm saying we're that age.
Okay.
But, you know, Skip, and for me, you look at people like, I dislike them because what? They want to marry. You like somebody, you love somebody, you love somebody. Now, you know, as I got older, I judge a person by how they treat me. Not who they with, care less. You marry a goat, marry a car. As long as you treat me good, I'm cool with you. I'm a people, not what you do. You know, how you treat me, okay, I'm going to treat you the same, not who you with. So I'm not surprised, but we knew a lot of this, Skip. You covered the game far too long. You know how it works in the NBA. I think Andre offered the fans, the casual fans, and people that don't know how the teams actually work. He gave you a glimpse inside. He pulled the curtain back and said, see, it's really all about one thing. It's about winning, and they will sacrifice the players' health in order to win.
So my big picture takeaway from reading all of these responses from Andre on the Breakfast Club yesterday, two things. I think even though he had said in days previous that he's convinced Kevin Durant is going to re-sign with Golden State, I think he just made that a lot harder with his confessions.
Right.
And on Mark Jackson, which I'll get to in just a moment, I'm not sure he did Mark's case any good in getting another job in the NBA because it dredges up a lot of the old details, many of them highly controversial. I'm just not sure that was the best thing to say at that moment. But back to Kevin Durant, to your point, when you say that they lied about your bone bruise, that it was actually a fracture, which I had never heard.
No.
So you forced him in a way. You sort of emotionally forced him.
Right.
And he said his teammates were all saying, "You good?
You
bro?
good? When you coming back?
Coming back?" To come back with a fracture of some kind and play in the NBA Finals because he did play in those games, sparingly, but he did play and he played pretty well. So if you're saying, if you put it in the Kevin Durant context, then it feels like that they misled Kevin. That's the inference you're making, right? Well, why would Kevin want to rejoin that? Why would he re-sign with that?
You wouldn't.
Okay.
Especially after that group. Skip, it's hard for me to trust. Look, if I have an injury like that, Skip, it's hard for me to regain the trust that you're going to be 100% honest with me moving forward. I don't know how KD gets that back with this team.
Yep, I agree. To Mark Jackson. I know Mark, and I'm a fan of Mark.
So am I.
And I do believe he did a terrific job with the young team. Because remember, he had Steph and Clay very young, as Clay was a rookie in his first year. So they go 23-43, and then they went 47-35. They lost to my Spurs in 6 games, and it was a hellacious battle in the first round. And then they go 51-31. It's pretty great.
Right.
And they lose to the Clippers in round 1 in 7 games. And it was a knockdown, drag-out. So those players still love him because he taught them how to play NBA basketball.
Especially defense.
He laid all the groundwork for the dynasty that was about to rise out of that. But I'm going to use another Joe Lacob quote here. When Mark was fired, Joe Lacob's quote was, part of it was he couldn't get along with anyone else in this organization. So we transcend all of his staunch religious viewpoint, and he is a pastor.
Yes.
He is called Pastor Mark. But beyond that, Mark is his own man, and I know him well enough to tell you he's got like Jimmy Butler in him. He won't back down to anybody.
That's New York City in him.
You got it. That is true. And so it's his way. It's not the organization way. No, I do it my way.
Right.
And don't you come in my office, anybody above him, owners, executives, don't come in my office and tell me how we're going to run this ship. I run it.
Right.
And after a while, if you push back hard enough upstairs,
push your ass out.
They'll push you right out the back door. And you know how it works.
Yes.
And that's just life in America, right? Life anywhere.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So again, staunch in his beliefs, and some people believe highly controversial stances, and we could go on and on about that, but it was bigger than that.
Right.
Because he did want to preach to his players, and a lot of them at that point, it was a very Christian team.
Right.
And a lot of them went to his church with him.
Right.
And on Wednesday night, he would preach to the team if you chose to come.
Right.
And they would stream it back to his church, which he had at that point in Van Nuys, which is here in Southern California. So that's going on, and obviously ownership became concerned, well, what if we draft somebody who doesn't believe in what Mark believes?
Well, they don't got to go.
They don't have to go.
Because, Skip, I mean,
but then there was the questions get raised, will Mark not play them because they don't believe what Mark's preaching? Or, that can get very dicey.
I don't believe that would have ever been the case.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we had guys, teams. We had Bible study, and
I
you know,
got it.
if you
You
wanted to
can
go,
choose or
you
not
can
choose.
choose or not.
Okay, all
Skip,
right.
they have prayer in the locker. They have prayer in the shower. Okay, prayer. Okay, fine. You do you. I ain't got no problem with that. I'm not
But
forcing.
your head coach wasn't leading Bible study.
No,
right?
no. He was not. He was
Okay.
not. They attended. I'm sure Dan. Dan was
Dan was.
very,
No,
Dan
I
was
know
very
Dan.
religious. He
Very
would go.
was.
But they're just like, if you want to go, you're welcome to come. If not, no harm, no foul. It's just, and I agree with you. I don't know if Iggy did Mark any favors by going into like the kind of the details of what transpired. If they told Mark, if the ownership told Mark, we don't want you preaching on. If you want to preach on your off time, you want to go to a church, have at it. But we don't want you doing it here. If they did that, I don't know. Like I said,
By the way, I think they thought Mark was spending too much of his off time in Van Nuys at the church because he was still, quote unquote, like a full-time pastor of the
minister.
church.
Yes, he was.
So after a while, in their eyes, he became expendable. Would I like to see him get another job? Sure,
Yes,
I would. Just on basketball principles.
Yes.
Can he coach? You
Yes.
better believe he can coach. Does he have a good job right now? Yeah.
He's very good.
Got a really good job, and he's really good at it.
They are great.
Yeah.
They're great at, not good, they're great at what
great.
they do.
They are great. I agree.
Always fun to watch and listen to those guys. And NBA season will be back here before we know it.
I think it's already here.
It never
Right?
stops these days. So speaking of which, is there already too much pressure on Zion Williamson in New Orleans? We'll discuss that one up next.
No mercy.
Hi there, Undisputed listeners. It's Jen Hale, here to talk to you about our sponsor, Harry's. Did you know the average guy will spend 3,000 hours of his lifetime shaving? Don't waste 4 months of your life overpaying for poor-performing razors. Get Harry's, a razor so sharp you can shave less often and save money. Join the 10 million who have tried Harry's. Claim your special offer by going to harrys.com/undisputed. Harry's founders were two regular guys tired of getting ripped off and paying for overpriced gimmicks. Harry's makes quality, durable blades at a fair price, just $2 per blade. Harry's also has a 100% quality guarantee. If you don't love your shave, let them know. They'll give you a full refund. Get a trial set that comes with everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. A weighted ergonomic handle for an easy grip. 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade for a close shave. A rich lathering shave gel that will leave you smelling great. Plus a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Undisputed listeners can redeem their trial set at harrys.com/undisputed. If you prefer to shop in store, Harry's razors are also available at Walmart and Target. Thanks again for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. Now, back to the show.
No mercy.
On to my favorite story of the day. Earlier this week, we showed you the message Drew Brees wrote on a Saints jersey for Zion Williamson, saying Drew was passing the torch. Well, now we can see Zion's amazing reaction to receiving that gift. Take a listen.
Oh my God. Zion, welcome to the family. Let's dance. I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna make that like global. Simple as that. Like, let's dance, man. Man, this is nice. My first jersey from a professional athlete. It's a nice gift. Sheesh. Our first jersey. I'm gonna collect a lot of these. I know D-Wade probably got like 100, 1,000 or something.
Yeah, you got quite a few. Don't worry, you go get yours.
Wow, passing the torch. Are you ready to take that on? City of New Orleans.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Hard to believe it's his first professional jersey. I don't think it'll be his last, though. Shannon, do you like Zion's reaction?
I love his reaction, Skip. He's very authentic. He comes off as a 19-year-old kid.
He does.
That just got a jersey from one of the best quarterbacks in the world, one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best NFL players to ever play the game, and he got gifted a jersey. Skip, he doesn't realize how big of a deal he is. Now in New Orleans, he's on that level. Skip, I mean, you could see just the unbridled joy and emotion that I'm a small kid. I'm a small town kid from Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Not a small kid, but
Yeah. Well, I'm a big kid. I'm a big kid now. From Spartanburg, South Carolina. I went to Duke and I became a name. I became a household name.
He did.
And he's about to take it up to another level. But Skip, this is not how passing the torch works. You know that. This is not the CEO retiring from a company and passing it on to the VP or the COO. That's not how it works in sports. You have to unseat. You have to win something. Tom Brady didn't say, hey, Mookie Betts, here's a jersey of mine for Mookie Betts 8. Now you take it over Boston. No, that's not how it works. Skip, in sports, it doesn't work like that. If you're a fighter, you got to knock the champ out, and then he's like, hey, it's time for a new guy to take this new guy on the mantle. If you don't fight in the fight game, Skip, you got to win something. You know how this works. You don't get to pass the torch like that. This is not a relay. Nah, you got to win something, and then you take the torch. Know that. You like it.
So Tom Brady never gave Jimmy Garoppolo a jersey that said, I'm passing the torch?
Skip, I was like, maybe Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts was the MVP, won a World Series.
Yeah.
It was Mookie like, well, where's my jersey, Tom? It ain't coming.
Usually, I would agree with you. On principle, you are exactly right. You got to at least dribble it one time in a real game before you can even think about getting the torch passed to you.
Right.
There's just something about this kid that has already won me over. I don't believe this will be too much for him. He will live up to it. And now it's come clear to me that Let's Dance just tumbled out of his mouth. You know, it was spontaneous. He didn't it wasn't a marketing slogan. Let's go with Let's Dance.
Right.
And now he's kind of laughing at the ceiling like, man, maybe I should make this global. This Let's Dance. He says, that's it. Just as simple as that. That's what he said. Simple as that, let's dance. Meaning, I'm just going to come every night and we're just going to do it, man.
Well, you know, Skip, when they made the NCAA, that's what he said, let's dance. That's when that's when the first time that he used the phrase.
No, but it just tumbled out.
It rolls out, it flows,
So here we go.
I think I'm going to beat him to it. I'm going to go copyright that.
Are you really?
I'm going to pull a Tom Brady. I just don't want anybody else to use it for, I don't want nobody else to use it to him. Because I hate people say let's dance. Yeah. I hate when they say that. So I just want to get it so no one else can use it.
So then he's like, wow, passing the torch. Am I ready for that? And then whoever's taking the video says, you're ready. And he says, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I believe he's ready. And that's those two words are the biggest
What he's
mouthful.
supposed to say, so when the guy says, are you ready? No, I'm not ready. You think you going to put that on camera?
Do you think he even has any idea what's about to be dropped upon his broad shoulders? No.
No, he does not.
Do you think there was a lot dropped on him at Duke? There was.
Well, Skip, here's the thing. Yes, but only because R.J. Barrett was more highly sought after. R.J. Barrett was the guy. R.J. Barrett had both guys come out of college, was able to coach to the NBA from high school. R.J. Barrett probably would have been the number 1 overall pick. Zion played his way into being the number 1 pick, showed that he was a better player than R.J. Barrett. Well, at the collegiate level, we have to wait and see how it plays out in the NBA, Skip.
Yeah.
But R.J. Barrett went in more hot. Oh, Barrett, this kid, he's going to be the number 1. Because that's, he's going to be a number 1. He's going to be the first pick. And then after about 4 or 5 games, he's not going to be the first pick. The guy playing alongside him is going to be the first pick. But I don't think he has any idea, Skip, because Duke is Duke. Duke, Coach K is Duke, not Zion Williamson, because they've had other great players to come through there. Elton Brand, they've had Kyrie, they've had Johnny Dawkins, Grant Hill, and Christian Laettner. They've had other great players. Skip, he is a franchise-changing player. When you get selected number 1 overall, Skip, you see what they've heaped on him.
Okay.
They've opened, the city has already embraced him. They've opened up and said, hey, this is our baby now.
I remind you, our former President Obama went all the way down to Durham, North Carolina to attend that game that night that he blew his knee out. I didn't blow it out. He hurt his knee, strained it, but he blew his shoe out, right?
Yes.
And yet, in the next breath, we see him in the video, and he's acting like a little kid saying, wow, my first jersey from a professional athlete. I hope I get a lot more of these. Well, that's just childlike. to me.
Yeah, exactly.
But in the next breath, he gives you no sense of any doubt. Like a lot of kids with that thrust upon them be like, you might see the fear creep into their eyes like, uh-oh, I can't live up
Well,
to
if President
this.
Obama had been in office when O'Brien was in high school, guess where he'd have been?
Okay.
He'd been right there in Akron, watching a high school basketball game.
I'll buy that. And LeBron lived up to it. He stood up to it. I give you that. So can this kid. He's made of the same stuff.
Hey,
Yeah.
single moms. I mean, his stepfather was there now. We got to see, Skip. I mean, that's an awful lot. He's thought of in the same breath as LeBron coming out and Magic Johnson, franchise-altering players that will forever change the game.
Okay.
So we're going to see.
Okay.
I'm rooting for it.
I told you you're not rooting. You're
I
rooting
am.
against him because you've dug in and you said John Morant's going to be better than he is.
That don't mean I'm not rooting.
It's going to make you subliminally root against him. Am I right?
No.
Yes.
No. Skip, just because I think John doesn't mean I'm not rooting for the guy. I want the guy to do well.
So I told you I'm summing this kid up with he can dominate the NBA without a dominating ego. And I'm not sure we've ever quite seen that before.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that kind of overpowering ego attached to
comes.
his dominating
It coming.
skills.
It's coming.
Yeah.
You know how that works, Skip.
I don't know.
It coming.
No.
It ain't like me, I'm just honest. I'm like, chill, whatever.
Oh, God.
You, on the other hand.
That was the most disingenuous
Yeah,
thing
you
you've
on the
ever
other hand,
said. But I'm going to let you get away with it because it's your birthday.
No, I said, man, Skip, got ego. He don't be want me to talk. He be cutting my talk time. He kill my mic. I see he got a button on his mic pack
But
that can kill
I
my
do
mic.
have one thing in common with Zion.
What you got?
I bring it every day, and he does too. That's what's going to be, that will distinguish him at the next level. He will play as hard as he can play every dribble.
I'm Michigan State.
Every dribble.
And New Orleans
I'm
is
Michigan
such a
State.
supportive
It is.
city. That's a great place,
I
a
just
launching pad.
I just end runs. Michigan State, you know what they did to Zion? What would they ever be known as? They ended
Fighting
it.
words.
They
Fighting
didn't
words.
do it.
They didn't do that.
His coach did
Don't
it
do
to
that.
him.
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, if he'd had the ball in his hands, we'd be having a whole, be talking about college champ Zion.
No.
Right?
Great stuff this morning, guys. Moving on. Would Jimmy Butler be a good fit with the Rockets? Chris Brousard's joining us to discuss that one in just a moment.
No mercy.
Back to the NBA. Jimmy Butler's next address could be in Houston. Woj reporting the Rockets want to acquire Butler in a sign and trade deal when free agency starts on Sunday. The Rockets don't have enough cap space to outright sign him, so any deal would likely have to include some combination of Clint Capella, PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon. We are joined by NBA FS1 analyst Chris Brousard. Chris, so many dynamic personalities already on the Rockets. Do you think Jimmy Butler would fit in Houston?
No, this is foolishness. Unless Chris Paul was the guy traded, which I don't see happening. And even then, I have my doubts. It would be a similar situation to what you have now with Chris Paul. But here's the deal. As long as Mike D'Antoni's the coach and going to play how he plays, which is one dominant ball handler doing everything. It was the same with Steve Nash. Now, he was more of a passer than Harden, but he dominated the ball. Jeremy Lin, when his little 2 months of great success, dominated the ball. This is how Mike D'Antoni coaches, and I don't think he's confrontational enough to go to James Harden and be like, look, we got to change some things up. So I think they're essentially going to play the same way. And Jimmy Butler is not a spot-up three-point shooter. He shot 34% from three last year. He shoots that for his career.
I thought he shot 39% last year on catch and shoot three.
Maybe catch and shoot,
right.
but overall he was 34% from three. And he only attempted fewer than three a game. So you're not going to just put him at the three-point line and say, Jimmy, do your thing. Because he's not going to be the Jimmy Butler we all know and love, and that's a very good player. He's going to be neutered to some degree. If you brought in a more traditional coach who was going to put Chris Paul at the 1, James Harden at the 2, Jimmy Butler at the 3, and play, a different style, then it might make some sense. But look, this is typical Daryl Morey. He's a good GM, but he's overrated. People think he's the best thing in the NBA. He goes after big names regardless of chemistry, regardless of fit, regardless of any of the human element. He never takes any of that.
Right?
Thank you. Chris Paul, I don't remember how you guys felt about Chris Paul, but most people were like, how's this going to work?
We felt that way because Skip and I was like, how they going to play together when they both need the ball.
Right, and you see now. Now, that said, if I'm Houston, I'm for the most part standing pat. And I may make a tweak here or there, try to get D'Antoni to tweak the offense a little bit, but only Golden State beat you. And they're not going to be the same, so run it back. I mean, we've seen the Detroit Pistons of Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan's Bulls. Teams have often had to take their lumps before they get to the championship. So this is typical overreaction from Daryl Morey.
Anyway, you heard me. I said this, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead, Skip.
Did you just get a transcript of what he said on the show?
I told you, I don't watch, so I
just because it's his birthday today, you just
it's
said
happy
everything?
Birthday.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, you're the only man.
That was my birthday
Wait a second,
present.
You're the only person in the known world who didn't know that it's his birthday. Because you've announced it every year.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, today my birthday?
Oh, yeah. So it's my turn?
Your turn.
I love you, Chris Brousard, but I cannot tell you how much I disagreed with every point you made. And that's a first, because usually I give you like, that was
give me a
pretty
little
good. Not today, because it's not your birthday. They are stuck with Chris Paul. They are not going to trade that $40-odd million contract. You're just not. And they are stuck with a guy who at times last year, to me, looked like a shell of his New Orleans self, that guy who could just dominate at about 6 feet tall in his first couple of years in the league. He is, to me, over the hill, just slightly over it, but he's over it, and he has lost a step. So now you say, run it back. It's going to be the same song, third, fourth verse, and it's not going to end well because it's pretty clear these two are do not invitems anymore. And I'm not sure you can just roll the ball back out there and say, you guys just figure it out because there's no Kevin Durant. Just go figure it out because we still got Capella and we still got Eric Gordon and we still got a chance. Maybe we can figure it out this time and muddle through and make it work because it's so open door winnable this year. To me, Jimmy Butler is just what the doctor ordered for this team right now. And as I told Shannon, it might be Dr. Freud or Dr. Phil or somebody, but they need some doctor in the house. Maybe.
You quack.
Okay. Jimmy Butler is his own man. Yes. And he is a leader for better or for worse. And if you put him with a bunch of young Timberwolves, it's for worse because he's just going to run them all out of the locker room because he's not going to put up with their babiness, their childishness, and they're not going to like it when he pushes back on them. And they rebelled against Jimmy Butler. In this case, you have two veteran stars. One's a superstar. I don't know if Chris was ever a superstar. I'm not sure about that, but he's a star.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Yeah. And you got a guy who's going to walk in the locker room and say, enough of that, and who will get in both their faces and become the leader this team does not have. Chris could have been the leader in his younger days, but he can't back it up on the floor anymore. D'Antoni is the opposite of a leader. I don't know. When I listen to his sideline huddles, when they show the snippets on TV, it's just like that. Nobody's listening. Everybody's looking down at their shoes, We got to get a stop, guys. We got to get a stop. Come on. Really? I mean, it reminds me of Guy V. Lewis, who used to be the university coach, and he was they just said he just rolled the ball out at practice and just said, you guys do it. Just dunk it. Dunk the damn ball. That's what he used to say. Just dunk the damn thing, right? Okay, so he's not going to be a leader, but Jimmy Butler would be a catalyst here. He would shake it up. And this team doesn't have, to me, a closer, and I'm talking about on defense or offense, and he can be that guy. He is not afraid to take and make big shots, and he is definitely not afraid to take whoever's on the other team that needs to get stopped in the last 4 or 5 minutes and take him on and maybe take him out. They don't have that guy. They don't have that intangible in their midst.
Tuck is not a bag. I mean, PJ Tuck, he's not the offensive player, but he's every bit. He'll battle.
Right.
He will battle, but there's something about Jimmy Butler. He'll make the play on the guy, the block, more like Iguodala plays at 6'7" and long. And the one cherry on top I forgot to throw in the opening block of this show, he grew up in the Houston area. Tom Ball, and it's a suburb of Houston. So you're kind of, he would feel better about coming home, and the fans would feel better about, we got one of ours back. So you've
but
even got that.
Everybody doesn't want to be at home. I don't know if Jimmy does or not, but look, I think you're right about his personality, but I think it'd be World War III in that locker room.
Okay, but
I think
maybe
he and Chris Paul-
that would clear
I
the
mean,
air.
it might have to be a fight in training camp.
We talked about this to open this show. I said it might come to a knockdown, drag out. Literally, punches might get thrown.
But then whoever loses is going to feel
I
like
don't know.
it's going to go in the shell. I would think.
You can't beat me. We got to fight every day till I win. Or one of us got to get up out
All
of
right,
there.
so there's no okay. So it won't work. So a
Chris,
fight won't help.
If you run it back, it's going to fester. It's going to start to rear its head a little bit, and then it's just going to explode again between Chris and.
I'm on record as saying they're going to be the Phoenix Suns or the Sacramento Kings. You know, where they get close, but they're never quite good enough to win.
Oh, back in the old days.
Right, I agree with you that they're not. I don't think they'd win it, but I wouldn't make a wholesale change like that.
But Skip, I'm looking at you. You said, okay, Brain. It's hard for me to fathom a scenario where you got two guys bickering and you bring a third guy in there and it makes it better.
Right.
It's not going to make it any better.
You need a peacemaker.
He ain't no peacemaker.
You need a referee.
He won't be a peacemaker,
I know, but sometimes it needs to explode in training camp and get it out of the way. I've seen situations where they got it over with in training camp and all of a sudden they made peace with each other. And if they do start to have conflict during a game, this is the guy who just jumps in the middle and says,
but I don't think he does that. I don't think he just, for the greater good, hey, guys, come on. I think he stirs it up just like Chris Paul stirs it up.
Yeah. I don't know what he do to that.
I don't like the run it back recipe next year. I just don't like it. And you have a chance to go win it all. You have the pieces. Now, again, we're going back and forth about who would have to get traded. Mm-hmm. They have to keep Capella to me in this mix. And
but
you say
they're talking about him being involved in
it. But there are three, again, the ESPN report is 3, 2 have to go. If Eric Gordon and PJ go, I'm okay with that. I still think you need somebody to do the windows, do the dirty work.
I agree with you on that. I would first of all, if I'm Houston, I want to keep Capella. If I'm Philadelphia, I don't want Capella.
You don't need
because
Capella.
I've got Embiid and I got Simmons down there too. I would want Eric Gordon. For Philadelphia, look, Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker, and then maybe you bring back Tobias Harris because they need shooting.
Right.
I think that would be really good for them. And try to get a third team involved. Tell Houston, go get a third team where we can get a point guard.
Okay.
And it don't have to be a great one, a Darren Collison or something, somebody that is a good point guard that can run the offense if I need him to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I don't like Jimmy Butler in Houston, given their circumstances. I think they're good enough with Golden State crippled as they are, pardon the pun. But this is their opportunity, Skip. This is their opportunity. If Daryl Morey has assembled a team as great as he thinks he has, and as he's told us every opportunity to stick a mic in front of him, stand pat.
Now that we've got that all sorted out for this morning, Chris, will you stick around?
Yes.
I'd love to have you back in a segment or two. He's going to be back a little bit later in the show, but right now, we have an extremely special guest.
Legendary.
Ice Cube is here.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Hi, everyone. Jen Hale here with a quick word from today's sponsor, Rothy's. Rothy's are the everyday flats for life on the go. They're stylish, comfortable, and go with everything, from yoga pants to dresses and skirts. They've quickly become a most loved, gotta-have brand thanks to their wide range of colors and patterns, with new ones launching constantly. And there is zero break-in period. Since Rothy's are crafted using 3D knitting techniques and hand assembly, their seamless design means right out of the box comfort. Best of all, they're made from recycled plastic water bottles. That's right, over 25 million water bottles have been diverted from landfills to make these gorgeous and sustainable shoes. Another major bonus, they're fully machine washable, so your pair will be fresh and ready every laundry day. Plus, Rothy's always come with free shipping and free returns and exchanges. There's no risk and no reason not to try. You'll quickly discover why BuzzFeed called them their forever shoes. Check out all the amazing styles available right now at rothys.com/cadence. Comfort, style, and sustainability. These are the shoes you've been waiting for. Head to rothys.com. That's ROTHYS.com/cadence today. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. Back to the show.
No mercy.
Our next guest is a legendary rapper, producer, and actor. He's also a huge Lakers fan, the founder of the Big Three, and a fabulous friend of the show. Ice Cube, welcome to Undisputed this morning, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure and an honor to have you back.
Thank
Way
you.
to go.
Thank you.
All right, you've got Anthony Davis in purple and gold this upcoming season, but you still have some roster spots to fill. What would you like to see the Lakers add this offseason?
Unlike these two guys, I like D'Angelo Russell. Yes, I do. I think he has the ability to play the two. He's definitely a scorer, and he can pass. So whether he bring the ball up or LeBron bring it up, I think it's going to turn out all right. Yeah.
So, timeout. Did you have any issue with the bridge that he burned the first time he was a Laker with Nick Young?
I didn't think it was a point where he needed to go. I thought it was something that could have been worked out. It was actually a teachable moment that they blew up into this.
I'm gonna teach you how to fight. If you don't know how to, I'm gonna teach you how to fight. You already know he's supposed to get swole.
Nah, I don't know about swole. I just think
Q.
Nick Young, you shouldn't be,
Q.
Here's what I was told by the great Bernie Mac. If you play with a puppy, he's gonna lick you in the mouth and bite you on the lip. And that's what happened with Nick. He was playing with a puppy.
Yeah.
He got licked in the mouth and bit on the lip.
Hey, what you do with the puppy?
Well, you don't kill the puppy.
Nah, you don't kill him. I ain't gonna kill him.
You probably stop playing with him so much.
Puppy go in the house. You trying to potty train him. You know what you do? You get that newspaper, right? And you wear him out. Well, I don't need no newspaper. Cube, you already know.
Man, you don't wear out no puppy, man. Leave the puppies alone.
Yeah, he ain't
It's
no
a
puppy.
teachable moment, too.
I'm gonna teach him. You right. He won't ever do that again. Go ahead, Skip.
So you think LeBron plus Anthony Davis is enough as the two cornerstones to win a championship?
Yeah, I think that's enough. We still got to add the right pieces. It takes more than two to tangle and to win that chip. So, it's the role players, Can they play their role at a high level all the time? That's the key.
How do you feel about Jeannie Buss and all of the laughingstock issues that have faced your front office over the last 3 or 4 months? She talked about it the other night on the red carpet, and to me, she wasn't real convincing about it.
I always say laugh now, cry later, So the people that was laughing at us for the last 6 years, I don't hear all the laughing no more. I don't hear the chuckles no more. Everybody's now saying what we need to do to win the championship. So I've always had faith in the Buss family ever since
The
Daddy was there doing it well, and I have faith in Jenny. So we've always tried to make the right moves. Sometimes they just don't work out. Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, that was an attempt to get us back where we needed to be. Just didn't work. So now we got LeBron. We'll see AD. The front office, all they could do is put the pieces together. It's really up to the coach and for the players to buy into it and make it work.
They might have $27 million. Would you like to see them go out and get a tier guy? Say a superstar. Obviously, it says Kawhi's not coming. Or would you like them to surround with pieces, quality players, as opposed to another superstar to go with AD and LeBron?
I like quality players.
See,
I don't. This whole you have to have a big three. Kawhi has taught us that that's not absolutely necessary.
But you can't hope one of the best players in the world and one of the greatest shooters of all time get injured. Because you and I know we're having a different conversation if KD's healthy, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a different conversation, but that's how sports go. Yeah. We have a different conversation about a lot of championships if injuries didn't step in. So injuries are a part of sports, so you can't cry over that. We would have beat the Pistons in '89.
If Magic Hampton.
If we wasn't injured. You know what I mean? We would have beat them in 04 if we wasn't injured.
Y'all wasn't injured.
We was injured.
Y'all had some bickering go.
Yeah,
you remember what happened? Yeah, you remember what happened in 04.
I remember what happened.
Okay.
We had injuries.
And what happened? And Shaq was going to lump him up because what? He ran his mouth. See what I'm talking about?
That was actually between Kobe and
Shaq.
Carl. But
No. I'm saying when Kobe got with his trouble, and then he told the
you
investigator.
believe? See, that's your problem. You believe
What-
those Colorado police.
Okay.
I don't believe them.
Okay.
But you're from Colorado, so you. That's why you believe everything they say. I don't believe those police.
Will Shaq go put paws on him?
When? At what point? It was always gonna put paws on each other.
No, I think it's gonna be more Shaq putting paws on him.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
So, what did you make now that the smoke is cleared in Magic's sudden "I'm out of here"?
It was always a strange fit to me anyway. That Magic had to
True.
work. Like you gave Magic a Robin. You know what I'm saying, to work with. I thought that was strange from day one. So, I was looking for it to go more this way than to be, one big happy family. And, in Magic defense, when everything went wrong, it was Magic's fault. Nobody was hollering Rob. It's Rob's fault. And when everything went right, he had to share the spotlight with Rob. And it's like, come on, I gotta be Magic. So I understand him walking out the door at the time he did when he did it. And Magic can do no wrong in my eyes. I don't know why y'all up here talking to me about that.
Magic pulled an ice cube in NWA. You just walked out the building.
Hey, when it ain't right, you got to go. You got to go.
But here's the thing. Okay, if they give you a title, you understand what comes along with this, right?
Yep.
Now, you're not Magic. You're Irving Johnson in this role. You're Magic Johnson now as the ambassador walking around and saying, oh, yeah, it'd be great, get this guy. But once you become an executive, you're Irving Johnson, which means you have to do things that executives do, like go scout, like go watch guys play. You don't get to go on vacation and then tell somebody else to do that, and then when they rat you out, talk about, oh, he backstabbing me. He didn't say, well, I wasn't in the office. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do.
Why is Magic there with Rob Pelinka? Huh? Why did Magic go there with Rob Pelinka?
He could have told. Because what?
Rob, you take your butt to watch somebody scouting. You let me know the thing, give me the tape, and then I'll bring him in for a workout. That's how Magic do it. Rob, what you doing, boy? I got stuff to do. You need to get to work.
That's not how
that's how it go. That's how it go when you Magic Johnson. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to give me Robin, I'm going to put Robin to work. You know what I mean? Batman ain't got to do it all.
He was Irving then.
Okay. Well, that's why he left, because when you Irving, sometimes you can't work your magic.
Okay. Okay.
Like that. Well said. Man was a poet. So speaking of Magic, one thing I've always loved about you is that you grew up seeing championships made before your very eyes. Magic won multiple championships, and then Shaq and Kobe won championships.
Yes.
So that brings us to LeBron and AD. And you just mentioned about Anthony Davis. We'll see, and you've always had a we'll see attitude, which Laker Nation has, like, show us first. We're not going to embrace you till you do it for us, right? So how much more do you need to see, A, from LeBron, and then B, what do you want to see from Anthony Davis?
Well, I mean, I want to see Anthony Davis dominate. I want to see LeBron help Anthony dominate and get his in the flow. Because I think, when you got a player like LeBron, I think he can turn it on and take over a game. And I think he really should encourage AD to take over, and he'll get his on the back end. Because you never know you never know when it's like AD say, I can't do it tonight, LeBron, you're gonna have to take this. And I want to make sure LeBron got the energy and is ready to take over when need be.
Yeah, we ready. The best thing to happen, we didn't know it at the time, was us this injury and missing the playoffs. Because for the first time, we ain't got to play 100-plus games.
Yeah, I always thought LeBron wanted to come here to get a year of rest. I always thought that. I thought, making the playoffs the first year, like, who would want to after playing 9 years in the finals?
So you were okay with last year just being a kind of a year off for him?
Yeah, I was expecting that. Even
Okay.
if he stayed healthy the whole year, I was expecting the Lakers not really to make the playoffs.
Okay. Now that he has a co-star, you expect what next year?
I expect, I don't know about parade, but I expect us to get deep.
Parade coming through
and
Beverly
these
Hills.
last, and then we can have a back-to-back on those last.
I need the parade coming through Beverly Hills. I ain't gonna be able to make it
It's
downtown.
coming, Beverly Hills. It's
It's coming, man. Just
I
just kick
can't
back.
make it downtown.
Lord,
Need to come through
look at
Beverly
this.
Hills, Bel Air area.
Yeah, you won't be able to get home then.
We do it downtown, and
Man.
you gonna stay in Beverly Hills and Bel Air and Malibu.
I mean, the parade can come through. We want to
No
celebrate.
parades coming through there, bro. Got to make it downtown Los Angeles.
Great stuff, Ice Cube. Thank you so much. We're going to get you to hang with us for one
Yes.
more segment if you
All right,
don't
cool.
mind. We got to take a break, though, real quick. We will be back with much more Ice Cube in just a minute.
No mercy.
Ice Cube is still with us. Season 3 of The Big Three is now underway. Nancy Lieberman's team trying to defend their title. What can fans expect this season, Ice?
I mean, great basketball. You know, we just had our week 1 in Detroit and Indianapolis last weekend. Great basketball. You know, ISO Joe still got it.
Joe Johnson.
You know, Katino Mobley, 43, still giving him 28 points.
Will Bynum was kicking.
Yeah, Will Bynum doing his thing. So, we've expanded to 12 teams. We play on 2 nights a week, and the competition level has just went through the roof.
So you have put your heart and soul in this project, and I know I said when you first started that everything you've ever touched has turned to gold. This is a hard mountain to climb. It's a
Yeah.
tough one, but you're hanging in there with this, and you still believe in its future.
Yes, without a doubt. I think, 3-on-3 basketball is an American sport, invented right here in America. And there's no reason why when we elevate it to the professional level, it shouldn't work. It has everything you can want in sports. And, I believe is something that the American public really love. Around the world, they're going to really love where this league is going. It's not really about where we are now. It's about the potential of this league and where it can be in 5 years when, the intersection of the American interests into the sport and what we're doing with the league crosses. It's going to be pretty combustible.
So back to the other league, the one called the NBA. Where do you think all the big free agent prize dominoes are about to fall? Like, what's your gut on Durant and then down the line? What happened?
Well, it's hard to see because it's like one domino fall. It could affect where other people go. We've seen Anthony Davis get moved. Conley was
Yeah, Mike Conley went to Utah.
Yeah, got moved. I think the major pieces are Durant and
Kawhi.
Kawhi too. I forgot about Kawhi and Kyrie. Those are the 3 major pieces, and so the wind will blow wherever they go. So will they link up? Who knows? Kawhi coming back to the Clippers to me is a joke. Why would you leave championship status to come to an organization that's never got
You hear that,
to
Skip?
the Western Conference Finals. So it makes no
But
sense
that's spoken
to me.
like a true Laker fan.
Yeah, I am. That to me makes no sense. I believe he's going to stay.
What if he does join the Clippers? How much of a threat would that be to your Lakers?
None.
Because
they're the Clippers.
they're the Clippers, like they're just doomed from the start?
Until they do something other than what we've seen in the past, I can't give them future credit for something I've never seen them do. So
We go in places.
We as in Lakers.
Lakers.
Yeah.
AD, Bron, we, us. We're not done.
The other team has Jerry West running it and Doc coaching
He can't
it
play.
and Steve
If he could
Ballmer.
play, if the logo could play,
Yeah.
they might be in business. But he
Right.
can't play. He 80.
It's true.
Yep.
He can't play.
Yeah, those are the deepest pockets in sports.
Oh, they got
Steve
Obama
Ballmer's.
worth
Yeah.
41 billion. Guess what?
Okay.
He can only spend the cap.
Okay. Doc Rivers should have been the coach of the year. Just me. I don't think Budenholzer should have been, but that's just me.
They made 160
Okay.
games.
All right. So, but they're all there. Those are 3 strong personalities.
Yeah,
Right?
And they'll still,
They'll still be the
still
Clippers?
personalities will be
Go
there
out in the second round.
Yes, while we getting the trophy. They little bro. Look, there's hierarchy here, Skip. No matter, I'm bigger than my brother. I'm taller, but I'm still a little brother. He's older than me.
Yeah.
The Clippers, I don't care what they do. They little brothers. We big brothers. That's how it works, Skip.
So you just condemned yourself in the eyes of your big brother. You said you're just always going to be a little brother.
I'm cool
right?
with that.
Okay.
But he know.
But you're in the Hall of Fame.
He should
Okay.
be. He was better than I was. I just played longer. But Clippers ain't got nothing to say about this.
Okay.
They look. First of all, they should have stayed down in San Diego.
Yep.
Oh my bad, Buffalo. They started in Buffalo.
They did.
Then they went to San Diego. People don't know that. They just stayed
I
where they
love
were.
for San Diego.
I love San Diego too.
They
but
should have stayed in San
They should have stayed down there. Okay. They come up here and go, hold up. How you gonna talk about you big brother? You gonna be equivalent of us and you live in our house. They play in Staples. That's our house.
Well, they share the house.
It's ours. It's our house.
Yeah.
Well, that's not how they look
They shouldn't have been in the Staples Center.
No.
Yeah.
They just funked up the joint. Bad socks. And they like the cousin that comes over but never goes.
Yeah.
And
They should have stayed in like the sports arena over on the USC campus.
Or somewhere away. What's wrong with the Honda Center, whatever they're using at Anaheim? They can go to that.
Okay.
You don't even want them in L.A. anymore. Put them in L.A.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of just butted in. No, nobody asked. Same with the Chargers. They just butted in.
Hey, my boy coach for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Hey, Lynn, maybe we gotta go down there and see him.
Don't take his butt back to San Diego. How your enemies living in your backyard.
Gut feeling, if KD and Kyrie do team up, they will wind up where? Just best guess.
Everybody's saying Brooklyn, but if they're gonna go to New York, they might
Go
as
to
well
New York.
To the Knicks.
I agree.
I mean, do it.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is great, but if they're gonna go to New York, go do it. Make history.
Okay. And we need, before we let you go, we need one quick thought on that team up in the Bay Area that's bound for Las Vegas called the Raiders, who are going to be featured on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, we're gonna be featured on Hard Knocks. They didn't want the Broncos, huh?
Look, we win. I want everybody.
Win?
Because you know what?
You won what?
Super Bowl 50.
Oh.
The golden anniversary. We won that. When the last time y'all won a playoff game?
What'd you say?
The last time the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, the LA Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. How many names y'all gonna have?
I'm having a problem with my audio.
You ain't got I'm right here. You don't need audio to hear me.
I need some audio here.
Y'all, guess what? In 5 years, y'all will move again. You'll leave Las Vegas.
No. In 5 years, we're gonna have at least 2 trophies.
At least
Yeah. At least 2. 5 years.
Okay.
Getting that new stadium, it's that new car smell.
Yeah,
Woo, you know how players play when they get in that new stadium.
What happened when you put fish in a new car? You smell it up.
Fish.
Yeah.
Talk about, man.
You Raiders, get a new stadium.
Nah, man. Nah.
Well, wait a second, Shannon. Your quarterback is now Joe Flacco. You realize that, right?
They got Derek Rett Carr.
Yeah.
So what you talking about?
I'll take that car.
Oh, you take Rett Carr? Okay. Yeah. We gonna see. We already got a bet you owe me for last year.
Hey, man, just tell Flacco to throw it to us, man.
No.
You know he's gonna throw it to us. Just throw it to us.
I'm glad that y'all on Hard Knocks because I want everybody to see how terrible you're gonna be before it actually happens. That's what the Hard Knocks do. It gives you a glimpse of what you're gonna see.
You sound jealous. You sound jealous.
So what do you expect from your Raiders? You got AB, and they've made a lot of good draft picks, and John Gruden, and what do you expect?
I expect a better record than last year.
Well, they can't get worse, can they? They picked
I expect a better record than last year. You already know how, I know sports. I know how it works.
Skip, you heard what he said? He expects a better record. After they won 4 games, he expects, so 5-11 is good, 6-10, 7-9.
It's better than 4-12.
That's a shame. Can I get playoffs?
Y'all ain't making the playoffs, so what difference do it make?
We ain't paying the coach $10 million a year either.
You should.
Time is passing by, Cube. Passed him by. I'm sorry.
We'll see.
I feel bad for you, too. I really do.
I think we're talking about
I don't.
I think we're talking about the 2 bottom feeders in this division now, unfortunately.
They're going to be on the bottom. They're going to be on the bottom.
I think it's
it's a bunk bed. Okay, they're on the bottom, we're on the top bunk, but they're still on the bottom.
Yeah.
The Big Three has a great season coming this year. Take us out in Charlotte this weekend and Philly.
That works.
And we are looking forward to seeing it. Hugh, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having us, Skip, man. Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure.
All right.
No mercy.
Andre Iguodala certainly did not hold back yesterday on the Breakfast Club. Iggy opened up about why his former coach Mark Jackson hasn't been able to get another coaching job in the NBA, plus how Kevin Durant's Achilles injury was handled. Take a listen.
Everyone's feeding stuff in our head when KD coming back, back.
And the fact that it's the finals.
That's what I'm saying. Last year happened to me. I missed the last 3 games of the Houston series. It goes to Game 7. We barely get out of that series. And now they're looking at me like, when you coming back? And I had a fractured leg. But it's being put out there like he got a bone bruise. I'm like, no, it's fractured. But so I'm fighting with the team. I'm fighting with people. I'm fighting with the media. And then my teammates ask me every day, how you feeling? How you feeling?
You played under Mark Jackson for a year, right? Now, whatever happened to Mark? Because he put that team together, it seems like, and then nobody ever gave him a chance again, which seems weird.
We were just talking about that this morning, and I just talked about it earlier about playing a part. But if that's not who you really are, you can't play the part, or you can't play the politics game. And I think it was a lot of that. Like, we were huge fans of Mark, the players. He was the ultimate players coach.
You think Mark Jackson is blackballed from the NBA?
I do, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I think so too.
There's a lot of stuff there, that's for sure. Chris Brousard back with us now. Blackballed, fracture versus bone bruise. Chris, what's your reaction to all this?
Well, watching this, my first reaction was, is Iguodala a free agent? You know, because he has to go back to the Warriors for a year after this. First, the KD situation. If what it looks like he's saying was, they said it put out there, the team, that it was a bone bruise when it was a fracture. Now, how did he know it was a fracture? Did he have a second opinion? Did the team, it's hard to tell, but if the team put out there it's a bone bruise and Iggy knew it was a fracture, then that lends credence to this notion that did they put out a calf strain when they knew it was an Achilles? Now, I do not believe that the Warriors looked at Kevin Durant, knew it was an Achilles injury, and told him and everybody else it was a calf strain. I could believe they knew it was an Achilles, he knew it was an Achilles. And then they all said, you know what, it's better. Like, they convinced him, or he just felt, I don't want to go into free agency with teams knowing I have an Achilles injury, so I'll go along with the calf strain. But to think that they just blatantly lied to him and said, no, it's a calf strain when they knew it was an Achilles, I don't believe that.
What about if they misled him about the severity of the injury? Okay, yeah, you got an Achilles, but I mean, for KD to play on an Achilles, they had to have. You can't do it any more damage than already done.
Which means
they're telling him the severity of it is very minor.
But here's the sticking point is this: we heard Steve Kerr say everybody was involved, including KD and his own independent doctor.
Right.
So that's what makes this thing really murky. Right. Did he have his own doctor, and it was his doctor saying the same thing as the Warriors?
Right.
So if the doctor was indeed saying the same thing as the Warriors, that protects the Warriors. So there's that. With Mark Jackson, there's no doubt in my mind he has been informally blackballed by the NBA.
Or as Shannon says, whiteballed.
Right, okay. When I say that, I mean, the league obviously hasn't sent anything out, hey, don't hire Mike Jackson. They've hired Mark Jackson to be a broadcaster. So that's not I don't think the owners have conspired and said, look, none of us hired Mark Jackson. That's what I mean by informal. But his relationship with Joe Lacob, the owner, was not good. And that was the main problem that he had in Golden State. That last year, they really didn't talk to each other very much. And we know the owners is an old boy network, even still. And Lacob, I'm sure, has been, he just tells other owners, man, I would stay away from that guy. It was problem, and because basketball-wise, Mark Jackson, look, I give Steve Kerr credit for taking him to a level none of us thought possible, right? But Mark Jackson was a very good coach. And the confidence he instilled in Clay and Steph, I think if I'm Minnesota and I've got Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, I'm looking at saying I want him to instill that in them. If I'm Chicago and I've got all these good, young, talented players, I want that type of coach for them. So the fact that he has not even had an interview, let alone gotten a job, he's undoubtedly been blackballed.
For me, Skip, Mark Jackson reached out to me, and he basically said, because he wanted to clear up some things that Iggy had said on the Breakfast Club, and he said, I didn't have church. I never had church at that facility with anyone. I never expressed my views publicly with anyone on gay marriages. Folks are all assuming. Now, there have been several occasions. Now, he's refuted, this is not the first time, but he's refuted a lot of what's been said about him and how
attributed to him.
Attributed to, correct. Attributed to him. Go ahead, Skip. I just wanted to clear that up.
You're right, because he said, like, when he was asked about the gay marriage, he just said, no, I'm praying for Jason Collins.
Right.
So he hasn't, I don't ever recall him coming out and condemning anything like that.
The thing is, and I hate the term black, because somehow it's got attributed to negativity.
Yeah.
We don't want to eat dark meat chicken. We scared of the dark, black market, I'm saying Black Friday, all that. I say white ball because see, Skip, Chris, in our community, we blackball somebody. That just means we don't mess with you. We can't prevent you from coming and going, but when they white ball you, they can inhibit your ability to get a job in said environment.
I hear you.
The Andre Iguodala, Skip, and I've said this having been an athlete, and I have a very unique perspective because I wasn't always, as they know me in Denver, as 84. I came in as 81. So I was a 7th round draft pick, Skip. When you get injured, okay, you're injured. There was really no expectation. But the better you became, the more they needed you out there. And they just subtle thing, hey, you okay? I know you don't have to be worried, but I know you'll be ready to go on Sunday. It's just Wednesday. I know you're going to be, you see my ankle big as a balloon. You talking about going on Sunday, but hey, take as much time as you need. Everything's going to be okay. And then your teammate, you good? Hey, bro, that game plan, you see that game plan? Man, that thing got you heavily involved. They know you're going to be ready. I'm like, dude. So that's just, Skip, that's just the way it is. And this is not unique to Golden State. Even though Joe Lacob said they're light years ahead, this is not unique to them. Basically, what they're saying is that they value winning. And they were willing to roll the dice with KD's help, with Klay Thompson's help. They were willing to roll the dice to get that three-peat because three-peat would have put them in very unique company. There have been a lot of teams that went back-to-back, Skip. The Pistons went back-to-back, the bad boy Pistons. But can you imagine if they'd have three-peated? That's what makes the Lakers, the last team, to three-peat. That's what makes the Bulls, that's what makes these teams so legendary is when you can put together three. And Golden State was willing to roll the dice to get to three because that's what, championship, you're going to ever be remembered. Now until you're like, man, if KD hadn't have got hurt, if Klay, they're never going to reach that mythical, that pinnacle of being a three-peat, a three-time champ, excuse me.
So we're juggling two very different issues here. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to the first one, the Durant issue. I'm with you about Andre. I have no idea what he's thinking about.
He repenting.
He set his own bridge on fire to go back over the Bay Bridge to wherever they're going to play.
Skip, not to cut you off, but you remember you heard what he said about the Kyle Lowry? He said the dude, that's in his heart. You could tell that money, that's how he really feels. I'm like, oh.
My opinion, quickly, because I want to get to you. I think he got caught up. He's on a hip-hop show. If he had been being interviewed by me or an NBA reporter, I think he would have had his guard up a little more. But I think he got caught up in thinking maybe, who's going to hear this outside of players? Maybe. That's the only explanation I can think of, right?
Because he damned his organization by comparison.
Yes.
When he brought up his situation of the year before, and he went all the way to, they publicly called it a bone bruise. Well, that's the lowest of lows for an organization to lie about a fracture and call it a bone bruise, heaping more and more pressure on Andre. You got to come back.
It ain't a fracture, bro. You just got a bone bruise. It's okay.
Okay. And to your point, I don't know the gory details. Did he go get a second? How did he? Was it not until after the year that he went for a second opinion and they said, "Oh, you got a broken bone"?
That actually could make
okay.
Point.
All right. So when you compare it to Kevin's situation, it makes you really suspicious of how they handled this. And I don't know the nuances, what was it, Achilles fraying, and they said, oh, you can't hurt it anymore, when obviously it is in danger zone.
Yes.
So not only, he has said several times before yesterday, oh, Kevin's coming back. He's definitely, well, now I don't know about Kevin coming back, because this would be a strong indication Kevin wouldn't want to rejoin an organization that did that to Andre and to him,
Correct.
right? Because it's kind of hard for Andre to go back to that. But he did this year. I don't know. Now to Mark Jackson. He was an excellent basketball coach. He was hardcore. He was fundamentalist. He was staunch in his Christian beliefs and also staunch in his basketball beliefs.
Yes.
Because he taught them how to play at the rudimentary levels of this is how you do this. This is how you win at this level. And you start on the defensive end. And he instilled in them a defensive mindset that paid huge dividends for Steve Kerr. Because I'm not sure that's Steve's forte. Steve's more he's more of offensive minded. And yet, if you look at their arc, those 3 years, he had Steph and Clay. Clay was a rookie, and Steph, I think, was in his second year, I believe. And here they go. They go 23 and 43, and then all of a sudden they go 47 and 35. And trust me, they took my Spurs to the brink in that first round. And Steph's ankles were still bothering him. But then that next year, they're 51 and 31, and they take the Clippers to 7 games, and it was just knockdown, drag-out rivalry game, and he gets fired. And the Joe Lacob comment, the owner's comment, was part of it was that Mark couldn't get along with anyone else in this organization. Okay, we know Mark, you know him, we all, okay. He is his own man. And it is his way or get out of my office is sort of his attitude. And when people come from upstairs to say, hey, maybe we tweak this, and no, he doesn't want to hear it. No, this is how you teach this game. We do it this way. And yet all of he's staunch in his religious beliefs because he was a pastor.
Right.
And he continued to be a pastor. And I know there was some concern on management's part that he's spending too much time trying to continue to be the pastor of the church in Southern California, which is in Van Nuys.
Right.
Okay, I think the bigger picture was they just did, to your point, he was just hard to get along with for Joe Lacob.
Right.
And once that bridge gets set on fire, then all of a sudden Joe Lacob's telling other owners, boy, he's just hard to get along with, right?
Yeah, if you're the head coach, Skip, and you can't get along with the owner, it's kind of hard for you to keep your job.
That is true.
So many of the players loved him, including Steph.
Yes.
And that's the thing about the religious beliefs. First of all, and the same thing for the NFL. He's far from the only coach or player with strong religious beliefs.
Right.
You got a ton of players on that team, including Steph Curry, who have very similar Christian religious beliefs.
And Andre.
Right, Andre too. Bob Myers used to go to chapel. You know, he may be a Christian. So that in Golden State, obviously in San Francisco, is an incredibly liberal area.
Very open.
But that wouldn't explain these other parts of the country. You know, so I do think he's been whiteballed, as you would say. There's no question.
And yet, he has a very good job, and he does it very well on ESPN, ABC telecasts. And so I'm happy for him, but it's just disappointing that somebody wouldn't give him one more shot just on basketball principle. Because to your point, you give him a young team, he's going to take them places. He's going to show them the right way to play this game.
Because I think the thing that worked well for him with Golden State, they really didn't have any bad habits. So you get a young team, and you can still, this is the way we play defense. We got to get up into people. We got to play defense. Yeah, we want everybody. I know everybody want to put the ball in the basket, and that's how you get these big shoe endorsement deals. But if you can't stop people from scoring, it's going to be hard for you to win. I don't believe you'll be able to score enough points to win consistently. So his impact on Steph, Clay, and Draymond, excuse me, and they speak glowingly. Right. It's not like, well, yeah, you know, he was here and, you know, we preach. No, they speak glowingly. The first championship, they went over there, he was calling the game, they went to the desk and shook his hand. After they won, like, basically saying, appreciate, man, what you had done for us.
I wonder, you know, and again, not taking anything from Steve Kerr, because he did put in a different offense.
Yes.
Mark ran that high pick and roll and all that. But Draymond was off the bench for Mark. And David Lee was starting. And when Steve Kerr got there, David Lee was going to start. And he wasn't sure how he's going to use Draymond. Draymond was going to be in the same bench role and not play a ton. And then David Lee got hurt, and he was forced to put Draymond in, and the rest is history. Right. If Mark had been the coach and that had happened, I do wonder, would they have gone to a whole nother level too? Again, they wouldn't have had the same offense.
Right.
Would have been
The
interesting.
difference was Steve Kerr is the owner's dream because he gets along with everybody. And he's the nicest guy in the world, so he's easy to function with on a daily basis.
Yeah, and David Lee had just signed that massive contract.
Yeah.
Draymond was a second-round pick. It's hard to, take a guy that's making $15, $17 million out of the starting lineup, let him come off the bench, and put a $2 million guy in there.
Right.
But here we are.
Yep.
Great stuff this morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here, Chris. We really appreciate it. Still to come, should LeBron bring J.R. Smith to the Lakers? Interesting idea.
We get the band back together.
Discuss that
We get the
one.
band back together.
You want JR.
No mercy.
LeBron just might have a Cavs reunion right here in L.A. Yahoo's Chris Haynes believes J.R. Smith will become a Laker if he's waived in the offseason. Of course, we all remember JR's blunder in the 2018 finals. LA might also be in line to sign former Cav Kyle Korver if the Grizzlies buy him out. Shannon, all right, Lakers fan extraordinaire, what do you think of these moves?
Skip. I don't know if California be the best place for JR.
No?
They got some lax laws out here
they
that,
do, yeah.
that wouldn't work well with JR and what he likes to do.
Well, I don't know.
Skip, something that goes unnoticed is that the Cavaliers sent J.R. Smith home all of last year. And when you remember the Pelicans tried to do this with Anthony Davis, the league said, we'll find you $100,000 a day if you don't play him. They let the Cavs send J.R. Smith home and not a peep.
But JR wanted to go home.
But I'm saying, you can't do that. That's neither here nor there. Now, I would like to see Kyle Korver. Now, Kyle didn't play well, great, but it's just something about him and LeBron. LeBron did skip passes, all across court, and they need shooters. So, you know what? Maybe if JR is your sixth or seventh man, I don't know. We can't use him in the starting lineup anymore. But if he's gonna be our sixth guy, seventh guy, Kyle will be our eighth guy, we can live with that, Skip. I think we can live with that.
So this is the same J.R. Smith you wanted banned from basketball after his blunder in Game 1 of the.
Skip, you know that was this, Skip. You know what? I mean, it took me a long time. I had to do a lot of praying and repent.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, to forgive him. Forgive him for that blunder.
It's your birthday. I'll let you get away with that one also. Yeah.
Forgive and forget.
So you have forgotten, right?
I didn't forget, Skip. I forget. There's a difference. You can forgive somebody, but not forget what they did.
Yeah. So to me, J.R. Smith is on the downside because for the last 2 years, he just hasn't been much. And again, thanks to LeBron, he got his money, right?
You got him paid.
Yeah, he got him paid.
Yeah.
And yet, I do think that J.R. Smith, for LeBron, just because he loves LeBron, that he could do what Lance does, which is every once in a while, Lance dances, man.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, he'll do some extraordinary things where you'll say, wow, did you see that?
That's Skip. You
That's
know
JR.
He might go 0 for 5 one night, but then the next night he come back and give 7 for 14.
He might make 7 in a row.
Yes.
Because he can go crazy nutty hot. Like what are you doing kind of
But you want him to take those off balance, almost falling out of bounds, just throw it up kind of threes. You don't want him to get no like, ooh, yeah, take that one. No. You want something with a high degree of difficulty. He'll switch those.
Okay, and once upon a time, I think it was Game 3 of the previous year's finals. You were trying to explain to me that LeBron made the right play when he dished it to Kyle Korver in the deep corner and let him take the shot of shots to win Game 3, the turning point game.
Sometimes, Skip, I'm a firm believer in this. Sometimes you can make the right decision and not get the correct outcome.
Oh.
I believe LeBron James made the right play. The outcome did not go in our favor, and it's like that sometimes. But he made the right play. Kyle Korver was the best corner three-point shooter in the NBA that season. Shot over 60% in the short corner. He missed it.
Okay, but this was the NBA Finals. This wasn't Tuesday night in Milwaukee,
It's still
right?
NBA Finals, playoffs, regular season. It's a make-or-miss league.
Okay. So Kyle Korver is now 38 years of age.
He
You
that
realize
old?
that? Yeah, he's 38
He came
years
out
of
with
age.
LeBron. Oh, he played all 4 years, though.
Oh, he played all 4 years, right? Aha. So
he can still shoot.
So you realize at Utah, where I thought he was going to be a pretty good fit, by the time they hit the playoffs, he was out of the rotation. I mean, he didn't
Quinn
even play.
Snyder don't know how to use him.
Okay, he didn't know how.
They don't know how to use him. O'Brien, get O'Brien. Watch Bron.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
See, LeBron can take a meal. You see 2 slices of bread and a can of tuna. That's what you see. That's all you see. LeBron turned that into people pay big money to get a bite of this sandwich.
So when LeBron and Kyle Korver are on the court at the same time, Kyle Kuzma's going to have double duty because he's going to have to shove LeBron out to play defense, and he's also going to have to shove Kyle Korver out. Go get that guy. He has to push them into playing defense.
LeBron's going to be just fine, Skip. That rest is good. Rest does the body good.
Does it?
Yes.
He's not resting. He's filming.
He's actually he's getting up shots.
Yeah.
Actually, he's getting that nutrition. He's getting that rest.
How do you know?
Because I know.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, he's smoking those cigars.
No. Oh yeah, we on that wine.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we be on that Petrus hard.
Okay. So, as the whole world knows by now, it is your birthday, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to say it again? It's my birthday.
That's a little
You can say it again. It's your birthday.
I mean,
And just because it is your birthday, you do deserve, because you are my partner, you deserve a cake. So we got you a cake. Can we bring that on now? Aha.
Yeah.
Aha. And what does that cake say?
It says, "Happy birthday, LaGoat."
No, look, there's an L in there. You missed the L.
Oh, LaGloat.
LaGloat. Because you are gloat man. Am I right?
What am I gloating about, Skip? Look at this.
What are you gloating about? It's you in the gloat mask.
Oh, that's
Right?
awesome. Fantastic.
That is.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you. I'm gonna have a good old time. Have a good old time with that.
Yeah. I don't like the colors of it.
What's wrong?
Michigan colors, and my team's going to beat Michigan.
Y'all gonna catch
tonight.
that L tonight.
No,
You want a case of
we're
do on
gonna
that?
Give a big.
You want a case of do on that?
No, I do not.
Come on, Skip.
I don't want to jinx my team.
Maybe that was supposed to be purple.
Yeah.
Purple and gold for the Lakers.
I think it was.
Shannon,
Happy birthday, Shannon.
Thank you,
Way to
Skip.
go.
Appreciate that, bro.
Number 31 or something
Now you
like
have
that,
to
right?
eat all that cake tonight.
In one sitting.
Yes.
I mean, I ain't much of an eater like I used to.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
You have to do 3
Have
workouts
fun.
tomorrow for it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
No mercy.
Wishing Shannon happy birthday and Skip best of luck tonight as
Thank
his
you.
Vanderbilt Commodores just 1 win away from the College World Series title. Pitcher Kumar Rocker struck out 11 batters last night in a win over Michigan. This was after Rocker threw a no-hitter earlier in the tournament. The freshman likely would have been a top pick in the Major League draft, but he chose to go to college instead. Now Rocker will need to play 3 years of college ball before being eligible to turn pro. Shannon, those are the rules. Do you think he made the right move?
No, you should have gone and get that money. Go get that money, Skip Bayless, because pitchers' arms are very, very fragile. Put it in context. Imagine Zion Williamson, and he had to wait 2 more years before he can go to the NBA. That's all I want to say about this kid. This kid should be gone. He should have took the money and run.
I am so conflicted about this because I love my school. It's the best school in America. I cannot believe he made this choice. I'm happy. I'm proud he made this choice. But if I had been his father, and by the way, his father won both the Outland and the Lombardi trophies at Auburn in football, and now he is the defensive line coach at the University of Tennessee. Tracy Rocker, and that's our arch rival, Tennessee Vanderbilt, which is sort of ironic. But if I had been father and mother, she's a big force in his life, I would have said, gee, I don't know if you want to risk this. It's a great education. I always say, well, he could go get his education and play pro baseball, but the kids never do that. It's just too hard. It's too hard to find enough time to go get a Vanderbilt education while you're working your way up to the minor leagues.
Right.
Obviously, the game of baseball needs black stars, and I believe he's going to become, at some point, a big black star in following the footsteps of David Price, who pitched at Vanderbilt. Right now, Vanderbilt's got 5 starting pitchers in the major leagues. It's 6 total. And yet, now he's been so dramatically great because in back-to-back elimination games against Duke at home in the Super Regional, that's when he threw the no-hitter. And then last night, that's do or die, and he just comes up so big. He's got big clutch gene. But
big
now,
kid too, Skip.
Oh man,
You know who
6'4", 250.
He's not as he kind of reminds you of in his throwing motion of J.R. Richards, the great Houston Astro.
He was 6'8",
but you talking about when he rears back, Skip, like he can touch like 97, 98 miles an hour.
He can. He's more around 92.3.
Yeah.
But he's got a big bad curve.
Oh, he been. What Duke was the game he had 19 strikeouts, right?
No hitter. Yep.
This guy's when you saw David Price pitch, you says, okay, that's the best college player. That's the best college baseball player. He can be in the major leagues. When you watch this kid pitch, you're like, this kid need to be in the major league.
Yeah. If a year ago's draft, after his senior year, if he'd gone in that draft, would he be on a fast track to the big league?
Yeah. Oh, throwing like this? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure maybe he'd be there by now. I don't know.
Yeah.
And now he's got to go back for two more years at least. But he's talking about, I want my degree. He's talking about 4 years.
Man,
I want my championships over here. All right.
I have yet to hear Bill Gates says he's disappointed he didn't get that degree from Harvard. As he punching his computer, I'm worth $105 billion a day. I'm good.
Well, unfortunately, he can't pitch tonight unless maybe
no, he
ain't.
He ain't pitching.
I'll take one.
Don't do it, Kumar.
Baby.
Don't do it, Kumar.
Happy birthday, Shannon.
Happy birthday, Shannon.
We're back tomorrow morning.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.